Bernie Sanders made an appearance at the massive music festival Coachella this week. Let's just have a listen to what he said.
We need you to stand up to fight for justice. To fight for economic justice, social justice, and racial justice.
Well, there we have Bernie Sanders at Coachella speaking to a huge crowd. We could, all three of us get quite distracted by the long history of politicians appearing at music festivals. You think of Jeremy Corbyn at Glastonbury, not always doing themselves many favours. But it is notable, isn't it, that Bernie Sanders and AOC are really speaking to some quite big crowds now. And I wondered what you made of it, really. Is it the beginnings of a movement, or is that vastly exaggerated? Laura, you first. What do you make of it?
I think it's spot on, and it is smart, because if the Democrats have learned anything from 2024, it should be to go to meet people where they are. Donald Trump and his team did that brilliantly. In fact, this last weekend, they were at a UFC fight in Miami, a bunch of his cabinet members, Elon Musk and him, showing great strength and resistance at this big fight arena. But they're also on podcasts with these same demographics throughout the year. And I think that they really built up that following, not just by popping into one UFC fight here or there, but they really went to that demographic, those low propensity voters, as we call them when it comes to strategy, to show them that we're not with you just once, but we're with you throughout. That's really what Bernie Sanders and AOC are doing. Now, some people don't really like this whole liberation from oligarchy tour kind of naming, but the messaging has been pretty spot on. And they're going to meet people where they are. They're going out of their home states. They're going around the country. And Coachella, not often do Bernie Sanders and Lady Gaga have something in common, but they certainly did last week. And it's a wonderful opportunity to take the message about women's reproductive freedoms, climate change, election rights, right to the people that the Democrats have started to lose. So they need to get them back. So the Democrats should be out there, whether it's a concert, but they need to follow that up, not just with rallies, but podcasts, interviews, and we're talking TikTok and all different other platforms, just to really get that message out there consistently. They need to do that. So anytime that happens, I'm pretty happy to see it.
Robert, final word today to you.
Yeah, I think Laura, as always, in her analysis is spot on. We're in a way seeing that the attempt by some in the Democratic Party, or in Bernie Sanders' case, an independent senator, trying to sort of recover from the despair of their election defeat. And we've seen other sort of Democratic figures who may feature in 2028 do similar things. Gavin Newsom launching a podcast, trying to reach out across the aisle and listen to more conservative voices as well. So I think this is the beginning of the sort of 2028 campaign, the attempt to revive the sort of Democratic Party brand. But, if you had to take the big picture, Tom, you'd have to say that, it's extraordinary how exhausted people are here still, how little there is in terms of activism and demonstrations and protests. Yes, Coachella and other places, we're seeing kind of some Democratic politicians make a move, but the overwhelming view of sort of liberal America, as I see it, as I encounter it, both here in Washington and on the road, is still one of absolute exhaustion in the aftermath of the election and bafflement about how to try and take on Trump and his extraordinary agenda.